What is up, YouTube? We are back recapping what seemed to be a decent card, but I wasn't really watching it. That's why it took so long for me to get in here. Show dropped this weekend. You know where I was, but I still tried to tune in as much as I could. I saw the last fight's entirety. Didn't even watch the Mick Orlby fight, which is kind of crazy to think about in hindsight. Um, it was decent, it is what it is. Um, we did decent though. If you faded 80%, you probably didn't do the best. If you faded 80%, you did well. Um, Actually, recording this, I was not a high rank, so that's kind of crazy. But dang, I had some bad man. I've been bad recently, but yeah, I don't. That many people do well on this card betting wise. That's crazy. I'm not even gonna get into that part, but yeah, we're gonna be somewhat quick today. Like I said, I didn't really watch the fights too much. I'm glad we did well, but I was so tired. I was falling in and out of sleep, and then the show, and then it was a whole thing. But we'll break it down. We'll get into it, and we'll start with the first fight. We got Pierre Rodriguez defeating Sam Hughes. It just seemed like Sam Hughes didn't know what to do on the back foot, and it was just a mess. And yeah, that one was tough. That was close to almost being lock of the night. So I'm glad I didn't make that lock of the night. On to the next fight, we got Hector Sosa defeating Luan Lacerda. I had Sosa the first round KO. He won by decision. I think this is where I fell asleep. It might have been here because I woke up to the next fight. Bia Mesquita defeating Montserrat Hendon. First round sub. I had Bia Mesquita. Second round sub. Um, I woke up to Bia Mesquita about to finish her. It was like probably like in that sequence, like 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds before finish. Bia Mosqueda is legit. She will be a problem in this division. Don't get me wrong, Rendon is not good. However, Mosqueda's going out there. She's making it look easy. And in a depleted women's bantamweight division, I'm down with it. So, Bia Mosqueda, they gotta kind of rush her in a way. Let's see how old she is. Well, she's 7 and 0. She's 34. She's 34, man. They have to kind of put some, give her one more unranked fighter, but like a decent one, if there even is one that's decent. And then you have to give her top 15, honestly. I wouldn't honestly be opposed if you give her 15 or 14 in the rankings, whoever that is. But um, just because the time crunch and how dominant she has been. Next fight, we have Eric Anders defeating Brad Tavares by decision. Now, I felt like I was watching most of this. I felt like I thought Tavares won, but it was very close, and this is why I was like, stay the F away from this fight. Um, Tavares is getting taken down though by Eric Anders, and I was like, what? I was like, Eric Anders, and then Anders gets a good win, and he retires, and Tavares probably should have retired too. But he lives to see another day. I had Tavares' decision. It went to Anders. It was close. That was the one I was like, yeah, I'm not touching this one this week. So doesn't hurt that much. It was just like, I was kind of close. It felt like. But on to one that I predicted perfectly, and we got Manuel Sosa defeating Balaji Oki, third round KO. That is exactly what I called. I think I said Oki was going to look good earlier in the fight. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think first round Sousa looked better than second round Sousa did. So Oki might have got that second round. I don't know, but eventually it's just. I mean, Oki at the very end, he was just anything he was getting hit with. He had such a horrible response to, and it was just such a mess. And it was. whole thing. It just, well, I think with Sosa, it's like, I don't even know. Like he does have some like there was some thing I can't even remember the fight now that I'm thinking about it. This is so crazy. But like he did look kind of good. He probably gets on the watch list with this performance, if I'm being honest. He probably does. Um, the finish was crazy. Held down like held down Oki's like lead hand and then just fired straight down the pipe and Oki was out. That was sick. I'm pretty sure this guy also has a win over Mauricio Hoofy, so that's something to build off of as well. But yeah, we'll see what that little bowling ball does, But he's probably on the watch list. Great win. He did it perfectly how I predicted. So I'm probably a fan now after that for sure. On to the next fight though, we got Elijah Smith defeating Su Young Yu by second round sub. I had Smith second round KO. He almost had him. He dropped him with the combo out the clinch. It might have been an uppercut into a hook or something. And then, yeah, just went for the back and submitted the guy that has Jitsu as part of his nickname. So that was interesting. But, Smith is decent. He's young. No need to push him in a pretty stacked division. Let's do a gradual build up for this guy. Let's really try to have him go on a crazy UFC win streak before feeding him to the Wolves. On to the next fight. Vitor Petrino defeating Stevie Asplin by decision. Um, yeah, I mean, I had Asplin first round KO. Petrino looked decent. Both these guys they had slob moments in it, but at the same time, for how heavyweights have looked recently, these guys are decent. These guys might be decent. These guys will probably find themselves top 15 at some point in heavyweight division in their career. Um, it was a good fight. Aspen took on short notice. So kudos to him. I don't think he loses much stock in this, if not any at all. And Petrino gained some back. So Petrino, watch out for him. We'll see how he does as he continues this run. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So I mean, that's a tough L. But like I said, as a Petrino guy, even though it has been hard to be a Petrino guy recently. It's like that was a good win for him, being a young up and coming prospect like that. But yeah, on to the next fight. We got Mick DeBeck Oral by defeating Chris Curtis by decision. I had an Oral by decision, predicted that correct, perfectly. Um, Mick DeBeck, he's good. Um, like I said, I don't like all the nut hugging and everything all the time, but at the same time, like I have to respect these guys are trying to win, and that is a path to victory for facing a Chris Curtis in the welterweight division, former middleweight, while you're a former lightweight. So like I get it. I kind of figured, and that's why I picked oral by decision. I think he hurt Curtis pretty bad in the first round, and then he had some ground and pound. And I think this was where there were like decent amount back of the head shots. It wasn't anything like too bad. It was kind of I don't know. I wish I would have watched this fight a little bit more honestly, but it kind of just seemed like a lot of nut hugging. I think oral by is now third most takedowns in a fight of all time. I think he had 19 in this, so that's impressive. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they do oral by next. I like that was the way he had the win, in my opinion. You're not going to go out there and strike with Chris Curtis when you got outstruck by Rebecca. It just doesn't make sense. So it sucks because like I want him to be more exciting, but like same time I have to understand it. Same thing with Oliveira. It's the same thing with Islam and Hamza. Like I can't like I can't talk nonsense on these guys, too much. Like I will a little bit for sure, especially when I feel like there are ways that um, chances for them to advance and whatever, advance safely. But I don't know. I only watch the sport. I've never fought. I mean, it was like whatever, but I have to you have to respect the game plans, even if it's not the most fun. So we'll see what they do with Orlby next. Main card: Charles Johnson defeating Bruno Silva by decision. I had Johnson third round KO. Um, I was watching this fight decently. I thought Bruno Silva won, and I'm glad he didn't because I bet Johnson. It was very close from what I remember, but from what I remember, like Johnson be landing, and then like Bruno Silva would just hit him with the uppercut, like every 30 seconds it seemed like, or every time I peeked my head over, it's like, hey, Johnson's landing 1-2, and then Bruno Silva uppercut right up, and it gets like a decent reaction out of Johnson. So I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it because like I want Johnson to win, and I had Johnson, but like I was just like, I don't know, but we'll see. That was an interesting fight, but great win for Johnson. I want, I was a big fan of Bruno Silva at one point, but now I'm kind of like, hey, I need Charles Johnson to get high up in the rankings, like especially with these Kavanaugh and Joshua Van Wins aging crazy. Well, like I think he needs to get decently back into the rankings. So I was kind of excited to see him win, even though I didn't initially think he won, even though I didn't watch the whole fight. On to the next fight, we got Ion Cutelaba defeating Umar Sy by first round sub. Um, I had Sy decision. This is kind of insane to me. Sy or C or whatever it is, he has a decently credentialed background in wrestling and grappling. Am I not mistaken? Or is like all French grappling that mid that like guys like this can be credentialed in some sort of way? Because he looked horrible. Ion Cutelaba, they probably gave C or Side this fight. I'd be like, hey, get a win back after the Menafield loss, whatever. Or he might have a win in between that, whatever. So again, a win streak. He looked horrible. Cut him or go up to heavyweight and just somehow, some way have more skill than those guys and just dominate there. But I was so shook that Ion Kujalaba did that to him, and he lost to Menafield. Shame on me. I thought, oh, improvements. You got your first loss professionally. You'll come back and you'll be better than ever. And yeah, I don't know, man. I'm definitely he's probably no bet list. Probably done with that guy. No, so he does have a. I just looked. He does have a win in between Menafield and Cutelaba loss, but it's Brunitz Ribeiro, so it's like, yeah. Yeah, trash. Honestly, yeah, he's garbage. I don't even know. I don't even really care. Honestly, whatever. That's a tough out, but you gotta take him. Marwan Rahiki defeating Harry Hardwick. Second round KO. Doctor stop. No, not Doctor. Corner through in towel at the end of the second round, going into third. Hardwick broke his jaw. I wasn't paying attention to this fight too much. I was watching parts because I was in the middle of the game. I'm such a casual, and it sucks because this fight looked sick when I was tuning in. Leg kicks were live. Rahiki's throwing combos against the cage. Hardwick's fighting back, throwing stuff of his own, but nothing to the extent of Rahiki. This dude's legit. He's watch list. I remember his fight on the Contender Series. It was one of the best ones of the last season. I couldn't remember when I was making predictions if that was him or someone else, but this guy's a problem. Very excited to see what he does. Um, Harry Hardwick's having a horrible start to his UFC run, with the Cue Fernandez loss and now this, but we'll see what they do with him next. I'd imagine he's going to need a decent amount of time off. Probably not expecting to see Hardwood back here until like earliest September. I'd imagine probably later than that, probably end of the year if I had to guess. But yeah, I'm a great fight though. Respectable throwing towel. His jaw looked really messed up. Both those guys are warriors, so shout out to them. On to the next fight. Jose Delgado defeating Andre Fili by decision. I had Delgado first round KO. Um, wasn't me, or did it seem like Delgado was gun shy and kind of seemed hesitant, and it did not look like he was as confident. It looks like the Nathaniel Wood might have gotten into his head a little bit, or maybe he just really does value Andre Fili that much as an opponent. But yeah, I found that a little strange to me. Um, yeah, I don't know. He still got the decision. I thought he got it, but it was kind of close. I think it went split. I think it did go split, so that's kind of crazy. But or not really. It was close, honestly. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Delgado. Honestly, how old is he? I think he's like 28 or 29. He's 27. Okay, so he's about to be 28 next month. Okay, so he's got some time. We'll see what they do with him. On to the co-main event. We got Jillian Robertson defeating Amanda Lemos decision. I had Robertson second round sub. I wasn't really watching this fight, but I feel like I looked over for a moment. I did think that second round sub was live, but I could be wrong. Robertson, you will probably get winner of Zhang Dern, assuming that's booked soon. Um, unless Zhang Wei Li wants a lot of time off, and then you do Robertson versus Dern, and then Zhang faces winner when she comes back. We'll see what happens. So I don't know. I mean, it's a I don't like when divisions are stagnant, but this one I'm kind of fine with. Like they need to build up so many people at strawweight, so and it's gonna take time. So I'm fine with them having Mackenzie Dern just stay there until Zhang is ready, and then goes from there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Next fight, main event. Kevin Vallejos defeats Josh Emmett first round KO. I have Vallejos by decision. I ended up also throwing 4-5 decision. I mean, as a Vallejos fan, I know it's pronounced Vallejos. I'm not saying it like that right away. Maybe I'll ease my way into that pronunciation. Vallejos. Um, nasty. I mean, this guy is legit. In a way, kind of got the Taporia going for him. I'm not trying to compare him to too much. Like I'm not trying to do that with everyone that's like has a boxing heavy short featherweight with the boxing heavy approach, but he did really well cutting off the cage. Emmett was trying to get off, like he was shuffling off the back foot, like around the cage a lot more than I feel like I've seen him recently. It didn't look like he was really trying to sit down on anything and then just, spam the overhand. It really looked like he was respecting Vallejos a little too much. But rightfully so, because Vallejos just walked through and just, you know, rolling shoulders, blade stance, and he's just cuts off the cage and gets him out of there in the first round. So that's a massive win for this guy. I thought this was almost too soon to jump him up, but he delivered, and it's about to get really interesting because after this, and I didn't even think this was an easy matchup for him. I was like, oh, he's so young. It's like he's had great wins. I also thought the Giga Jikadze. I think maybe it's just Danny Silva's just tricky. Maybe Danny Silva's just tricky. You know what I mean? It was 2 fights ago, but we're also talking that was only 7 months ago. But he's picking it up quick. So he might be an issue, but we'll see what they come back with next in the matchmaking and everything. I'm very interested to see what they do with him. Let's see if they came out with um, the rankings, UFC rankings. I heard the big news today was Armand replaced Max Holloway on the pound for pound, but that's not. I could care less about that. Emmett got demoted to 15. He lost 4 spots. Ortega's down to 11. Vallejos is up to 10. Man, oh man, what do you do next with Vallejos? I don't even know, bro. Mel Costas at 12 too. Well, he'll be facing Arnold Allen. I don't even know, bro. For Vallejos, maybe. I mean, these guys aren't even that active like that, but maybe the loser of Zalal versus Sterling, I guess. Like, they don't even fight for like 2 months, but I'm trying to think of schedule wise. When, I mean, Yair's not going to fight him. It should be Yair. I don't want Vallejos to jump that much, but Yair needs to get off. Like, Yair being number 4 is criminal. I am mad now. I am witnessing this right now. I thought if or I'm glad Ortega's finally out of the top 10, but Yair 4, his last win is against number 13, who was unranked when he fought him. I'm about to blow gasket. This is criminal. This is insane. I'm trying to look too. Jillian Robertson up to number 5. Do her versus Suarez. Title eliminator for next shot. Ugh. It's disgusting, but you could. I mean, what do you do? You can give her Virna. Or she beats her. I don't know. I don't really care that much. I'm trying to think what else. What else do they do? Gosh, women's bantamweight is horrible. Oh my gosh, they need to fix that. Vitor Petrino actually sneaks into number 15. He replaces Ty. That's sick. Uh, Probably deserved, I'd imagine, right? Yeah, they did some decent things here. Charles Johnson's up to 13. Yeah, I don't know. They did some stuff. Horiguchi's up to 5? Dang. That's sick. Well, good for Horiguchi, man. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, we will see what happens here, man. Oh man. Um, yeah, all right. Well, I will be back in a couple days to break down where we at London this week. We actually with this card, London, this ought to be very, very interesting because I didn't even notice this till a couple days ago. I was scrolling through Instagram. So Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev are both on 9-fight win streaks in the UFC. So winner of that, I think, has the longest win streak in featherweight history, or tied with it. So we're talking that main event. The card's kind of mid name value wise, and with the matchups they made. But that fight, even though it's not going to be a barn burner, probably there's some stakes on the line here outside of getting next title shot. So win streaks are on the line. So that should be a good fight. Um, we'll see, though. Honestly, I would like to think that Lerone Murphy is well-rounded and technical enough not to be nut hugged by Evloev for 3 rounds or 5 rounds. Um, but just kind of with how these main events and how the grappling has been kind of recently with these types of matchups, it's tough to say, but but it might happen. It might happen. So we'll see what happens. I'm calling it there. Yeah. Goodbye, YouTube.